Hi students, this is Jamie. Welcome to PTA 227. I'm going to make this video podcast to give you an idea of what this course is about so that from day one you kind of get an overview of the expectations of this class. This is a 7-credit class, so it requires a lot of work. It's a class that you don't want to get behind on. It's a class that you don't want to cram for the weekend right before you come on Saturday morning. You kind of stay up all night on Friday and cram. The students who do that don't do well in this class. There's a lot of information in this class. This is my last class that I'll teach to you in the program, and I'm glad that it ends on this class because this is where it all comes together. So the very beginning of this class, we're actually reviewing what you learned in neuro. We're reviewing what you learned in tests and measures. And then we build on that and we go into case studies. We start applying the things you have learned all the way back to even pathology when you were learning about these different pathologies. Now you're going to be looking at how do you treat someone with these pathologies. This is Martin here who you're seeing. Martin is someone that comes in and is a guest speaker here in the Bellingham labs, and he is a spinal cord injured patient, and he's teaching this student actually how to transfer him, and she was scared to death to do it, and she did a fantastic job. And whether you're in the Bellingham labs or you're down in the South Sounders, one of the things that you're going to see in this class is guest speakers, is patients like Martin, and there also is a field trip that we'll be taking. But let me back up a second and just tell you the topics that are in PTA 227. We're reviewing sensory testing that you've already learned. We are looking at combined cortico testing. We're looking at non-equilibrium and equilibrium coordination testing. We're looking at coordination. We're looking at balance. How do you test a patient's balance? What kinds of tools do you have to evaluate or assess someone's balance? And then how do you work with someone in therapy about focusing on their balance and improving it? We're also going to look at motor learning and motor control. How do we learn? How do we best help our patients learn what we're trying to teach them? The transfers, the movements. Motor control, motor learning is a huge part of that, and we're going to look at that this quarter. We're going to look at diagnoses such as CVA. This is Chuck here who's going to come in the Bellingham labs, and he's had a stroke. CVA is one of them we're going to be working with. There's a small section in this class on pediatrics, and we will be either, if you're in the Bellingham labs or the South labs, we're both going on a field trip in where we're going to a facility that works with pediatrics, works with children for physical therapy. We're going to be looking at Parkinson's, MS, traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, Guillain-Barré, post-polio. As you can see, all of these topics have a neuro base to them, and it's about, like I said, applying the information that you've been learning through the program. As you can see on the first page of the syllabus, we have 4 lab weekends. All labs start at 9 o'clock in the morning and they end at 4:30. We have some labs that are 3 days. Those are pretty tiring, but we do have a couple of those in this class. There are 4 exams in this course, so every lab weekend there is an exam that is covering the material that we have had from the previous modules. We have 1 pass-fail skill check, which we'll talk about on that first lab weekend. We've got a lab practical at the end of the course where you're putting it all together and you're doing an extensive treatment on a patient, working with the areas that we have been learning about this quarter. There's also a student presentation. There's another video that explains how that presentation works, but basically you have a partner and you're presenting a topic to us in the class. Again, these aren't like the GATE presentations that were 10 minutes. These are involved. These are worth substantial amount of points. And this is a requirement in the course because part of the requirement you have when you go out in clinicals is doing an in-service. And so the student presentations are built into our program. They're built into 227 so that you can practice preparing a presentation in in-service so that you can do that in the clinic, because you're going to be graded on it in the clinic. And you get to have a partner, someone to work with when you're doing it in our class. So again, there's another video that talks about that. You'll see that there are 5 case studies that you're going to be working with for this course, and some of those are done online and some of those are actually done in the lab weekend. This is the last procedure class that has to do with neurodiagnoses and treatments, so there isn't going to be assignments where I say answer the 4 questions in the end of the chapter and send those to me. At this point in the program, you shouldn't need me to make you accountable for, doing the reading. You're going to do the reading, and then you're going to come to the lab prepared with that basic foundation of knowledge, and we're going to build on that in lab. I'm not expecting you to be an expert or proficient at, say, balance tests, but you need to have a framework for it so that we can build on it during the lab. And what's exciting about these case studies is I have videos online. So first you're going to read the PT eval, then you're going to watch a video of the actual patient, and then you're going to come up with treatment plan based on what the goal is set from the PT. So again, this is something you're going to be doing every day as a PTA. So this is where it all comes together, and these are worth quite a few points, and we'll be doing the first one together in lab, the very first lab weekend, so you get an idea of the depth that we're looking for these case studies. There's also a few discussion boards along the way inside this course. There are learning objectives and key questions for every module in this course. The very first lab weekend comes quickly. It takes every student by surprise, it seems like. We start on a Tuesday and boom, the lab weekend comes very quickly. So this very first module, I went ahead and answered pretty much all of the learning objectives key questions for you. I think there's like 10 or 12 that you need to find yourself in the textbook. Now, every module will have learning objectives and key questions, but this is the only module, this very first one, where I'm actually answering them for you. I just wanted to, what can I say, do something nice. So this very first one, I know it takes students a little while to get going, and this class starts with such a jolt that I went ahead and answered most of those questions for you. Let's see, what else can I say about this course? That it's a really fun class. We really are going to work together to integrate a lot of information from multiple classes that you've had along the way. Some of these videos that you're seeing here are students this is a student performing the lab practical at the end. It's where we pull it together. I've had a number of students who really missed the practice quizzes. It's really hard to please everyone, and of course, some people don't like the practice quizzes, some people want more questions where you answer them. It's really hard to please everybody. I do the best I can, but there were quite a few students that really missed those practice questions. So in this course, I went ahead and added in more of those practice quizzes. The 2 books that we're working with this quarter, again, is O'Sullivan, which we've used last quarter, and then Martin and Kessler. And Martin and Kessler comes with a quiz bank for students that you can do online yourself, but I've also put that inside our course for those students who really like to do practice type quizzes. All right, I'm very excited to be working with all you, and I go ahead and look around and start reading those required chapters, and I will come online for the very first day of the quarter at 9 a.m. I'll see you then.